Good morning, fellow e-bike people. Doc Humphreys. Gonna have to hurry a little bit today, make sure we get this going. Want to go ahead and give details, make a little longer video, I promised. So I figured I'd better do it before it rains. So let's start at the beginning and then we'll work our way up to the top, and hopefully I'll get everything that is explained, that needs to be explained. So this trailer in its previous life was a motorcycle trailer that had a fiberglass box that fit on the top of it. I removed that, put a diamond plate on there, ordered this cheap bicycle carrier off of Amazon. Had to get fenders, and I had to fabricate those, and I ended up fabricating brackets for them and stuff. That was a kind of a little involved deal there. Then I had to completely rework the bumper. The only thing that is original light-wise is the two small marker lamps. The rest of it's all been changed out and all wired up and stuff. Of course, in a later video you'll see how it looks at night. But anyway, let's start at the beginning up here. So since this was a motorcycle trailer, I wanted to have double use for it. And this has a swivel unit on it. And that way the motorcycle can lean, and the trailer, of course, being two wheels, doesn't have to. Well, I could see that that could be a problem, could possibly be a problem at some point. You know, you hit a bump on here on one tire and it lifts it up. Well, without that being locked to the ball and it pivoting, it could flip the trailer on its side. Not a very good thing. So I agonized over replacing that or welding it in place, and I ended up coming up with, I think, a pretty good fix for that. So I welded two bolts on there, one on the swivel part, one on the fixed part of it, and then took a piece of bar stock, drilled holes for it, and I just nutted in place if I want to put it on the car, and that makes that as solid as it would have been if it was not a tight pivot. And then very simple, I just take the two nuts loose, flip the bracket 180 degrees, and nut everything back down, and then I've got my motorcycle aspect of it. So pretty cool. I think it's going to work real well. Okay, the next thing, this entire assembly can be taken loose by just taking 3 bolts out. These 2 bolts right here, and this center bolt, the blue one. That whole thing will come off. So I didn't like the thin wall steel that these tubes were. I mean, they would have been fine for an analog bike, but of course, with the weight of the e-bikes and stuff, a lot of people are having problems with them not being strong enough, and I certainly did not want to do that. We have so much money invested in these bikes. So what I ended up doing, I welded a bracket here onto this, and then I sleeved a tube, a thick wall tube, and ran it through, probably about 18 inches out or so, maybe 20 inches, and secured everything, welded it down, set the sleeve part so that this could just pull right out, slide out after you take the 3 bolts loose. A couple of advantages to doing that: there'll be no flex on this tube now, since it's so solid. That will make the holders for the wheels even stronger. So back here in the back, I did exactly the same thing there. I sleeved that so that that's nice and strong. So let's move to the center mast. I'm not sure if I said anything about how easy this is to remove, but my problem was I had to be able to take this unit, the hook unit, out, add a second one if I was going to carry an additional bike, and since my wiring comes out of there, I couldn't go from the bottom, and since I've got the light set up at the top, I couldn't go from the top. So what I ended up doing was, well, actually I'm getting ahead of myself. So again, this thin wall stuff that it came with was just not adequate. I did not think that it would work that well in the long run, especially on a vertical riser like that. So I sleeved it, extended it, made it longer. I'm gonna have to hurry because it's starting to sprinkle. I want to get my camera wet. So anyway, I drilled all the holes and everything, got it all set. And all you have to do to remove this entire mast is unplug it there, take that pin out, and the whole thing comes off. So I thought if I'm transporting it, that would be a super good idea to do that, to be able to have that ability to do that. So I think I've already talked about the light. You can see the angle, how it angles down, so that the little lights underneath that shine on the load are not going to be in driver's eyes and stuff like that. Tie downs, I'm real big about tie downs. I put 4 of them on this. Now typically what I would do is, if it's going to be a long trip that I'm going to be on, I'll probably use at least 3 tie downs. And I did some calculating on this. The bike is about 60, 65 pounds, not counting whatever you have on it. Now if you take the battery out, that knocks about 8 pounds off of it. So the front wheel only has about 15 pounds on it. The remainder is on the rear, and this is where the majority of the weight is because of, well, there's more metal back here, plus you've got the cassette, the engine, basically on it. So rather than put all that stress on this analog setup, I welded, I don't know if you can see it, I welded a plate out part of the way, and that plate has the ability to spring just a little bit. So that'll relieve excessive pressure on the part there, and that should work real well. So I can't think of any way that I could have made this any better. I didn't lock these in, but this has the rubber holders that lock the wheels. I suggest using those. Now let me bring you in the garage. I'll show you this real quick. So I'm going to have to make wheel holders for my fat tire bike, and I got to thinking about it. I don't like to use what they've got, so I found a piece of thick wall tube stock, square tube stock, that will sleeve over the existing one out there. So I'm going to take about 8 inches, cut those off like that. Then I will take these solid steel rods. This is the solid one there. That one's hollow. The solid rod, and I will fabricate holders of the correct width. So I've got the pattern of the old one you know, I think I'll be fine. I'll flip you around here. You know, I think it looks good. I think it really worked out well. I think it's going to handle well. We drove pulled it all the way to Maine, Bangor, Maine, and then all the way down the East Coast back in 2014, pulled it with our motorcycle. Never had a bit of problem with it. And people go, oh, the wheelbase is too narrow, it needs to be wider, it needs to be wider. But when you stop and think about these large trailers, I used to have a toy hauler. That toy hauler was 27 feet long, yet at the tires it was only 7 feet wide. So if you do the math, this actually is longer than what that toy hauler was based upon the width on it. So, you know, smarter people than me figured this stuff out, and this will work good for them. Alrighty, well, let me get this thing in before it starts raining. You guys have a wonderful Sunday, and thanks for viewing. If you think of anything that I could have added to make this better, to make it safer, to make it work better, then don't hesitate to say something about it, because I'm all about that, you know. I mean, I firmly believe that the sum of all of us and all of our knowledge and our base that we have, experiences and stuff, is much, much more than what the individual can do. But I think I'm ready to start doing some remote riding. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. Bye. All right, let's see if we can get this to work. So I'm running the camera wild. I'll try to talk up. So this is clearance lights right there, or marker lights, whichever you want to fly with. There's four-way flashers. Thought that was pretty sweet. 4 ways. Alright, back to marker lights. Left turn signal. Right turn signal. Right turn signal brake light. Left turn signal brake light. Now, I don't know about you, but let me come back over there so I don't have to shout. So I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty cool. I think it worked out real well. I don't know if you noticed or not, but the mast light, the one up the top, has 4 little bitty LEDs that shine down, and it will be able to shine down on the bike or bikes and not bother. Let me show you how it's angled. It's kind of dark out here, so we'll see what we can do here. So, I don't know if you can see. Hold on. Yeah, see how that's angled down? So, cars are not going to see that, but what will happen is it'll reflect down onto there.